Hello and welcome to the programme. So representatives of the Trilateral Contact Group in Minsk during the last meeting agreed to develop a step-by-step ceasefire mechanism. This was reported by Ukraine's representative at the talks, Leonid Kuchma. The new mechanism should be prepared by the 19th of June. Representatives of Ukraine, Russia and the OSCE also agreed on the withdrawal of troops in the town of Stanytsia Luhansk, which is in the Luhansk region. Now, pleased to say, to discuss the outcomes of the meeting in Minsk and much more, we're joined in the studio today by Olena Snigyr, a leading specialist in the Centre of International Studies at the Diplomatic Academy of Ukraine. Hi, Olena, thanks for coming in.
Hello, thanks for inviting.
So firstly, can you tell us from the different analysis that you've read, what were the outcomes of this latest meeting and perhaps how they were different from previous meetings that they've held?
Mm-hmm. So the previous meetings of this Trilateral Contact Group were actually in the deadlock. There was no movement on. But I wouldn't be so optimistic about the development of this, the future meetings of this Trilateral Contact Group, because this is too early to say something. This was the first changes of inviting there again of Leonid Kuchma, and I really don't know what will happen then. I cannot prognose anything because you see, in the conflict there should be a bilateral movement, reciprocity. If both sides have intention to achieve peace agreement or peace, they need to move reciprocally to each other. From our side, during the last period, the last 4 or 5 years, we have seen the lack of willing from Russia to... Russia basically didn't want this peace agreement. Russia is interested in continuing this conflict. Russia is gaining more from this conflict than from stopping it. Yeah. And that's why these new initiatives from Leonid Kuchma, such as renewal of trade between...
Well, this was one of these points that was very controversial.
This is very tricky, and this is very controversial because we have to remember about this, that the suspension actually of trade with occupied territories was introduced as a response to the, basically to the theft of Ukrainian enterprises, to the so-called expropriation, or they called it nationalization, but it was basically expropriation of Ukrainian enterprises. Has anything changed? No. So on which that means that Ukraine is capitulating, or what?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, really, because the attention's in the detail,
We don't know because Kuchma proposes that, but we don't know the details. But what we even see today is very tricky, and it is very dangerous. As well as his proposal of this ceasefire, a new ceasefire agreement. Well, what does it mean not to shoot in response? It doesn't mean that the Russian forces will shoot and Ukrainians will show their goodwill and just stay and be shooted. Yeah, it's also very dangerous because it undermines the spirit, the fighting spirit of Ukrainian forces.
Of course, and it's their policy as well to shoot back in response.
And we have seen it before already, when there was such a policy not to shoot in response, and then Russian forces moved forward quickly.
And is there any particular reason that you know of why Leonid Kuchma would be chosen for this particular role in the Trilateral Contact Group?
I suppose that this is this is the willing of the strong will of new President Volodymyr Zelensky to show some progress, to achieve some progress, and he makes some proposals, he makes some movements, some changes. It's natural. It's natural, and it's okay. But we have to. Leonid Kuchma is not bad for this role until he proposes something dangerous for Ukrainian side.
Yeah.
So we have to see the result, what will be elaborated on the 19th of June. And I think that we cannot give the full credit of trust even to Leonid Kuchma, because we don't know. Actually, we don't know his intentions, his personal intentions. He doesn't care any responsibility for the results of these negotiations.
That's true. Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
So but the results of these negotiations and of this process are very crucial for Ukrainian state.
Yeah, and we talk about sort of what Ukraine wants, and you were talking about these assets that were seized effectively in occupied Donbass.
Enterprises, assets.
And what other things do you think Ukraine is looking for? Because there's certain sort of different groups within the Trilateral Contact Group. So, for example, you have the humanitarian aspect as well.
There is Ukraine really needs some progress in this conflict. I mean, progress, peace, moving to peace agreement, a peace, a ceasefire, and whatever. Ukraine is even interested already, I think, in some kind of frozen conflict. Just to stop this conflict, to bring it even under level of what is happening now on the Donbass, on the occupied territories. So the first and very easy step for Russia to show its interest in peace would be to release Ukrainian hostages on the Russian territories, to unblock exchange of imprisoned people.
Yeah, and there's still a lot of them in occupied Donbass.
And there are still a lot of them, and this is kind of Russia is introducing. We see that Russia is introducing these foreign hostages, Ukrainian hostages, as political instrument in international relations, and this is something new in international relations, basically in humanitarian. In the sphere of human rights, and this needs a strong reaction from international society. But on the other hand, this is the first point, and this is the first and the easiest step for Russia to show its goodwill, and probably because we cannot today. What Leonid Kuchma proposes? He proposes to trust Russians. He proposes, okay, let's trust them. Let's believe that they will not shoot. But we have seen it already before. I repeat again, we have seen that how Russia many times broke the deal. So there is a very big lack of trust. There is no trust between Ukraine and Russia. And the first and the easiest step would be the releasement of the hostages.
Yeah.
To unblock the exchange of people of Ukraine, of those who are in prison. And probably from this side, Leonid Kuchma has to begin his role in this Trilateral Contact Group, because he's very, respected person by Russians. So at least they declare it.
Yeah.
So maybe they can show their goodwill and their respect to him, to his role, by releasing people. Let's see and wait. But I am really surprised why Leonid Kuchma doesn't speak about this. Why he speaks about the steps which are very dangerous for Ukrainian army and for Ukraine as a state, and he doesn't speak about this, the easiest things for Russia to do. Well,
we'll have to see what happens. Thank you so much for coming to our studio today. It's a pleasure.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. That was Olena Snigyr, leading specialist in the Centre of International Studies at the Diplomatic Academy of Ukraine. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more here on UATV.